Hey everybody, how we doing? It's Trav. Alright, what we're going to talk about is the diaphragm fuel pumps. The ones I've got right here, the one I've got is off my wife's Polaris 330 Magnum. And it's also common through Polaris's, plus also it's almost the same kind of idea on most of your like Kohlers, Briggs & Strattons. They use a fuel pump without the activative arm that sits inside the engine. Anyways, what we have is this is pulse driven off the carburetor. This is your inlet, this is your outlet. Inlet from the fuel tank out to the carburetor. This comes from your carburetor. It's basically the vacuum actuates the diaphragm. Not getting into the specifics of it because what I'm just going to basically do is give you a quick thing to look at. So what happened was I went ahead, disconnected the outlet, put a piece of clear vinyl line down through the side into a tank, and tried to start the four-wheeler, had it running and seeing if it was pulling anything. Wasn't. I was like, okay, either I've got this is bad or I've got a blockage or something. The second thing I went ahead and did was I disconnected it here, because I've done this before on other ones. Disconnected it here, took another piece of clear vinyl with a syringe. The best ones to get are the syringes that are the ones you get for, like, if you have a tooth removed and it's for irrigation. It's got a little bent corner on it. Anyways, what I did is I took the syringe, shoved it up inside the tube, made a good seal, and then an actuation motion of about 2 inches. I went back and forth real fast. The minute I did, I noticed that I was getting fuel coming out. So that told me that the diaphragm was still healthy. There was no pinholes, no leaks, no problems. Then after I did it a couple more times, it was a nice solid fuel flow that came out. When I got done, I was like, okay, could it be the tube? Because if I have a pinhole in the tube somewhere. When I got the four-wheeler back in 2014, this is a 2003, they went through and replaced fuel lines, but one thing I didn't like was they had the fuel lines laying on top of the engine instead of kind of routed around. They were laying on, so I figured that's probably what the problem was with this one. It probably laid on top of the engine, got heat worked on it, wore a hole in it or something. So what I did is I went ahead and thought, well, that's probably what it is. Went off, took it, disassembled it, had to take the tank, all that stuff, got to it, put the new one on there. And when I put the new one on there, I fired right up. Well, it runs fine, no problems. But that's just in case if you really got, if you know it's your fuel pump acting up, and a real quick way to go ahead and check to see if your diaphragm's completely collapsed and it won't work anymore is, like I said, take a piece of clear vinyl with a little mini syringe, do like a quick pulse. A few times, you'll start noticing if you get gas out. If you don't, then pretty much what it is your diaphragm inside is shot. Sometimes it'll gravity trickle down, just depending on location of your tank. So then after that, I went through and replaced and rerouted the fuel lines. Now what I'm going to show you is a trick to check and see if your lines are bad. Okay, so in the next thing I'm going to show you what I do to check a fuel line or any kind of line, air line or anything. So just hold on a second. Okay, what you notice here is this is the old air line that came from inside, and I put a cap on there, and I've got my mini vac here. Basically what I did is I brought it up to about above 15, and it let it set. And it sat for 24 hours with no leak down. And I twisted the tubes, bent the tube, squeezed the tube to see. So it wasn't the tube that was bad. The tube was fine. It had just been where my diaphragm had gotten stuck. So if I would have just probably plugged it back in, my four-wheeler would probably lit right off and everything would have been fine. But what I'm trying to show you is just a quick how-to of what to look for in the diaphragm. Because 9 times out of 10, it could possibly be that the diaphragm is just stuck and it's not bad. That's a diaphragm from 2003. So it's been there with the machine. So anyways, I hope that helped you out a little bit. If it did, great. If not, you have to dig deeper. If you had to replace the pump, I feel for you, because it's not that bad, but it's a pain in the butt. But anyways, have a great day, and thank you for watching.